Okay, so of course we just about, as we get stuck on the coffee table, finished up the party around here. I think we actually may have had someone that we were trying to save for last that I proceeded to forget about. So that person was none other than Dally, our significant other. So probably a good thing if we check back in with her. We were curious to see if there was going to be any difference between the upbeat and the chill party. So maybe she's feeling a little better or a little worse this time around.
I am going to die.
Oh, well, that's great.
I didn't know you could go through that many toxin filters in one night. Do I have a tattoo? I remember something about a tattoo. Don't get me wrong. Great party, but... yeah. I'll just be here. Right here. Forever.
Okay, I think either we may have actually remembered to talk to Tally, or that's just the same as what we heard her say at the end of the previous type of party, so don't think there's really anything new and groundbreaking there.
Shepard.
So I think we are all set here at the end of party round 2. So that means that we'll be heading back to the Normandy. And I think we still went back to the Normandy at the end of our initial party. Actually, do we have to go straight back to the Normandy, or can we pop back over to other areas of the Silver Sun Strip? I don't recall. Okay. I suppose we can still peruse the Silver Sun Strip. Of course, we've done just about everything here that we might be interested in doing. However, there may actually be some instances in which there are some other things that become available to us only once we have finished the party, or only once we have spoken to squad mates in a certain location, and then they can show up in a second location after that first conversation. So, I think we may still need to return to the Normandy for that stuff to become an option. So why don't we head back now? No, that's not the spot. This is the spot.
Duty calls, huh?
A Joker.
There's still a war on.
Unless the Reapers are on shore leave too?
I'm guessing they're not. Round everyone up and have them report to the Normandy.
You got it.
I guess shore leave's over.
At least we threw one hell of a party. Probably the last one.
No. No matter what happens, you'll find a way to do it right. For all of us. Serving on a human ship. I never would have guessed. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. We've had a good ride.
The best.
Alright, so a little bit of a heart-to-heart with the team there at the end of our shore leave, and I think it is just further reinforcement of how Citadel, I mean, technically you can do Citadel quite early on in your playthrough, but it feels like it, for all the reasons that we have experienced, it just hits that much harder, hits home when you do it right at the end of the game, just before you're looking to complete the last few missions, because it just, there's that much more of a connection between you and your squad mates, whereas if you do it before you've done a whole bunch of these other trials and tribulations, that just feels like it doesn't hold quite the same amount of meaning. But we can see
Commander.
if there's anything else that squad mates would like to chat with us about here. But we know there are emails. Rain check from Trainer. Thanks for sticking around to watch me go head-to-head with T'Souza. Sorry again for messing up our lunch plans. Love to get a rain check. Let me know whether you're free, and I'll come by. How are you? From Samara. Shepard, I overheard yet another news report about you today, and I thought I'd write to see how you're doing. I'm currently on the Citadel, so if there is any way that I can be of assistance to you, please do not hesitate to call. Then, it's Mom. Please call. Oh no. Mom, how are you doing? Sweetheart, it's been a long time since we spoke. Too long. Admiral Hackett recruited me to work on the Crucible. Maybe you knew that. I don't know. But that's where you'll find me. Could you call me, please, when you get a chance? I would love to talk to you. Mom. Official input required from CSEC Central HQ. Commander Shepard, your presence has been requested concerning an incident involving a Krogan identified as Grunt. Please report to the CSEC officer on patrol on the Silver Sun Strip for additional details. Officer Johnson, CSEC Communications. Come hang out. From Jacob. Shepard, so the Normandy is in dry dock? Seems like the perfect chance to hang out and find some trouble. Meet me outside the arcade on the main level, if you're game. Okay, so this is what I was just alluding to before, that even though we have finished the party and we have met up with many of our squad mates before we went to the party, there are still some additional things we may be looking to do on the Silver Sun Strip before we actually head out and take on the last few missions. So, that's in part why we wanted to head back to the Normandy here. And I mean, Trainer didn't have anything new to say to us. I suppose we could check with others. But I had thought that we had gone back to the Normandy after our first party, but maybe I'm making that up, because I didn't remember that we had that heart-to-heart with the rest of the squad.
Commander?
But maybe I just,
Hello, Shepard.
maybe I just forgot it. But nothing new from Edie or Joker either would suggest that perhaps that is true. Oh, you know what we did? Maybe what I'm thinking of is that possibly even before we hosted the party, we went back down over here to the bottom floor and we upgraded a bunch of our weapons with all of our prize winnings from the arena. That's probably what I'm thinking of, which, assuming that we did that post-arena but pre-party, would explain why we didn't have that get-together with the full squad looking at the Normandy and whatnot. Maybe I didn't forget it and actually just see it before. But we did get a War Assets update. The Alliance specifically the Alliance Frigate Normandy SR2. So, let's see. Although the Normandy is tough enough to withstand ship-to-ship firepower, wear and tear takes its toll. The vacuum of space, solar irradiation, the retained heat of stealth mode, and the stress of burning an onboard fusion plant all put stress on the ship's many complex systems. Alliance technicians have repaired, retrofitted, and tested the Normandy while it was in dry dock, and they assure the crew that it will now perform better than ever. So that's an improvement. That's, of course, what was actually the original reason behind the shore leave, but there was also the whole aspect of, well, giving the squad a chance to relax, recuperate a bit, and prepare ourselves for the final push to take on the Reapers. So we also have an update for the crew of the Normandy. Both past and present have bonded over their shore leave experiences and vented stress that could otherwise damage their mental focus. They will fight for Shepard, or for one another, with renewed zeal. So, between those two things, I don't remember exactly how many war assets they're worth, because we do also have these other updates that we got from the upgrades we made to the Normandy in Mass Effect 2, which increase the value of this war asset, so it's a little harder to just say, oh, well, it's worth X. But I want to say maybe we were on something like 115, 120, 125 before we did the Citadel DLC, and so I think we got in the high double digits, mid to high double digits for war assets there. Might have even been as low as 105 before we did this most recent mission, so it might have been 80. It definitely was not triple digits. So it's definitely not the biggest in terms of the amount of war assets you get from this DLC compared to some of the other ones, like I think Leviathan gave us a ton. Omega, I don't remember how many that gave us, but I think that was larger as well. So it might even be the smallest in terms of the additional war assets you get from finishing this DLC, other than From the Ashes, where you just get Javik. I'm not even sure. Oh no, even for From the Ashes, you do still get the I forget what category it was under. Not X-Service, is it? Maybe Alliance, even? For the people who were colonists over there on Zeus Hope. Yeah, Zeus Hope colonists. Oh, I mean, okay. Thought it was... Oh, no, not Zeus Hope. Eden Prime. Eden Prime. So that was 100. So yeah, it varies a bit depending on, did you have to pick up an item, or a series of items in order to make this happen? So it's not guaranteed, but assuming you get all of them, I think that is still going to be higher than what you get from the Citadel DLC. So yes, I do think Citadel DLC is the lowest in terms of war assets that you get, but because you get other assets like the availability of the arena, which is the only way in Mass Effect 3 to get unlimited credits, that's a pretty big boost. You have weapon mods that would only be available to purchase or win from quests from those missions that we did, or sub-missions that we did there. There's also, the armor that we unlocked from getting the high score on the arena. That's another thing that would be unique to the Citadel DLC, so may not be the best in terms of war assets, but in terms of the other loot that you get. Oh, and you also get the Lancer, the assault rifle, which is quite solid. So that's, for all those reasons, in terms of rewards, it's up there. If not for war assets, then certainly for all the other things you get. And in terms of just the overall quality of the DLC, I think it's, or at least obviously it was originally DLC, now it's into the base Legendary Edition game, but I think it's up there at or near the top. I think Leviathan was really good as well. Omega I liked a lot. I mean, that one's a little bit harder to compare just because for me that was my first experience doing Omega, whereas the other ones I had done before, so I was kind of looking at Omega with wide eyes, and perhaps there was a little more of a surprise value, making it seem like it was maybe better than it might otherwise seem to people who have been there, done that before. But either way, I think it was still a great DLC. So why don't we just pop down, and maybe we'll use, oh, well, not CIC, that's where we currently are, crew deck, and just double check to see if Garrus or Liara have anything new to say to us, because we can use them as our check to see if squad mates do have anything to say in response to having finished the Citadel DLC. I think in the past we saw for other DLC missions that they generally didn't have anything new to say. We obviously checked with ED and Joker.
Good to see you.
But maybe they're a little bit of an exception.
Good to see you.
Yeah, but it seems like we can say pretty definitively that they do not have anything new to say to us. I don't think we got any Intel terminal upgrades, but it might be worth a quick double check here. Yeah, we don't. Okay. Anything new here? No. Okay.
Hello, Shepard.
Yeah, so I think in that case, we don't have anything else to do on board the Normandy, but we do still have, as we were saying before, some additional friends to check in with back on the Citadel in the Silver Sun Strip area. So let's head on back, and we can pay them a visit. So let's land once again, and we will go to the Silver Sun Strip. Okay, so now if we open our map, we see there's the C-Sec officer who supposedly would like to have us see him to discuss some trouble that Grunt has been getting up to. He's in this general area. Then Jacob is at the arcade. We may even, possibly before doing that, while we're here, we'll do that. We may also want to take a pit stop back at the apartment again.
I'd be less annoyed if you wasn't flailing around with those crazy whips and messing up my sniper.
Okay, where is the C-Sec officer exactly?
How did you get your lead actor to work with a live pilot?
That's where we meet up with Jacob, because that's the entrance to the arcade. But I was thinking we'd try to track down the C-Sec officer first, since at least in theory he's right out here, whereas Jacob is looking to go into the arcade, which is obviously a slightly different area.
What do you want to do?
Would have thought we'd get the little pop-up, kind of like what we just saw, though. Ah, this is probably you.
Worst part?
There we go.
Officer, someone requested my presence concerning an incident with the Krogan.
Right this way, Commander.
So, Grunt. Anything you want to tell me about?
Front.
This clown wants to take me to lockup. Figured I'd give you a call, straighten this out.
Commander Shepard, I apologize for the intrusion. This Krogan insisted we contact you.
What's up, Barrack?
It's okay. I'll vouch for him. I'll sign any paperwork you have, officer.
Yes, sir.
What happened?
I
Front.
don't know. Drank a bit, left the hospital, broke a few windows.
We're finishing up Mass Effect 3. Probably finishing it today. We still have a fair bit left to do, but we are getting very close to the end of the game, and that is exciting stuff because it's been a long path to get here. It's been a lot of fun, but we are getting very close to the climactic conclusion. So let's see. I mean, you left the hospital. I mean, it sounds like things got a little rough there. Are you doing okay?
But you were in that hospital recovering from the Rachni encounter.
Yeah, didn't feel like sticking around.
Most people stick around long enough to, heal.
Most people aren't me.
Why is C-Sec here?
Guess they're precious about some broken glass.
Grunt. What did you do? Did anybody get hurt? Heard about the endings, though. Well, we'll talk more about the endings, for sure. It is a topic that I have alluded to on a few occasions, but haven't really explicitly discussed yet. And there's some reasoning behind that, but we'll get there.
Before I sign you out, everybody walked away from this in one piece, right?
Sure, yeah, everybody's fine. Hospital's seen better days, though.
Right. Tell me about the windows.
A couple of squad mates broke me out for my birthday. Tried lowering me down the side of the building on a rope. It didn't work out.
It's your birthday?
No, I'm tank bred, remember? Anyway, we got some pictures on the Krogan Memorial.
In the Presidium?
Guys.
Yeah, when C-Sec got there, they were mad. Or maybe they were mad about their car being on fire. Can't remember.
Why was it on fire?
I
Grunt.
threw my bottle of ring call at it. Pretty strong stuff. It went up like a bonfire. The C-Sec guys jumped out. Then I figured they didn't want it, so I took it. We didn't get very far before they shut us down. Sprayed us down with riot foam. It didn't work so well on me.
And why's that?
'Cause I was on fire. You know, from the car.
Grunt.
Come on, Shepard, keep up.
Right. Sorry. So how did they catch you?
Got hungry. Bought some noodles.
As one does when one is on fire. I was just breaking through the glass window on the hospital, trying to rope down, crashed down on the ground, probably broke half the limbs of my body, but then decided, why not? We'll just we'll just raid this statue in the middle of the Citadel, and we'll chuck some very strong alcoholic beverages at a space car over there, and you know, maybe it'll catch on fire, maybe we'll catch on fire, but at the end of the day, sometimes you just need to eat. You should make amends or fabricate story. I am really curious to see what that does, but I mean, do we be we should probably be responsible. We should probably be responsible, though.
Grunt, you apologize to the nice man for setting his car on fire.
Fine. I'm sorry for setting your car on fire. And I won't do it again.
Good. Now, officer, I can pay for any damages that may have occurred.
That's what you've been signing for, Commander.
Oh,
You're lucky,
we've already done it.
Don't let me catch you up here again.
You won't. Thank you, officer. So, how were those noodles?
A little spicy.
You're my hero, Grunt.
Oh, the laugh as well. Oh. And that right there is one of the most classic scenes from the entire trilogy. The entire trilogy, and actually, because it's a little bit tricky to get it, because there's a chance you can only do that encounter after you finish the party, and there's probably that natural inclination once you finish the party to say, all right, done and dusted everything the Silver Sun Strip area, moving on to do bigger and better things, but that might mean you miss out on seeing that. I think that was actually my first time seeing it for myself. I had heard about it before because it's hard not to, because it is that famous, but oh man. That was amazing. I love it. Well done, Grunt. You are my hero. Confirmed. What a dude. What a dude. Alright, so on that note, after having just met up with Grunt, now we have to meet up with Jacob. Ooh. Okay. Fine. Let's save. And we'll meet him here at the arcade, as he said he was looking to do.
Hey, Shepard, over here. Thanks for coming by. Good to see you. What's up?
Out for a little R&R. You?
Exactly. Same thing.
Hey, Jacob, I'm out of credits.
Oh, how charitable.
Who are they?
The parents are MIA. Volunteered to take them on for the weekend, get their minds off things. What about us, Shepard? There's got to be a game of skill in there with our names on it.
I suppose. Challenging us to a game of some variety? Sure.
Let's do it.
Great.
This is your game of skill?
Now, Shepard, I'll try not to embarrass you.
Really? Trash talk? That shattered Ezo?
No big deal or anything, but we're kind of the high
My pride
scorekeeper.
is on the line. Also, these kids look up to me, so I have to take you down.
You're gonna take me down? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, step up, Shepard. Although it might be tough not having your squad to carry you.
Whoa there,
You're
buddy.
wrong.
No pressure, Shepard. These people already idolize you. So when you choke, it won't matter.
You're crowding me.
Am I? My bad. Stand back, everyone. Shepard needs extra room to make the magic happen.
Ready?
All right,
Let's do this.
bring it on, Jacob. We've played this, of course, before. We gotta punch his head off.
Glad none of your friends are here to see your humiliation.
That all
Just,
you got?
just you know, give him a little,
Come on,
little
come
poke
on.
here or there.
You crying yet, Jacob?
Oh, technically was not supposed to do that, but
All you got?
we'll get him. We'll get him.
Nice one.
There we go. No problem. Easy peasy.
Yeah! Commander Shepard
clearly we are ready to rumble. I mean, what can I say? Clearly the superior player won out.
And that's how it's done, kids.
You couldn't just let me win just once?
Nah,
Come on,
absolutely
Shepard.
not.
Let's grab some food. I'm buying.
Okay, so that's the latest from Jacob. Now, we've done basically everything in the arcade, the one exception being we have not gotten the top score on relay defense. Personally, I don't particularly like this game, and I don't exactly think we're anywhere near getting the high score, so we're probably just going to pass on this one altogether. If you do succeed and get the top score, then much like basically all the other arcade games in here, you'll unlock a weapon mod. I think it's in ultralight materials for shotguns, which, at least for our Shepard, it's not a very big deal because we're not using shotguns basically ever, and for squad mates it doesn't matter because weight does not matter on weapons for squad mates. So basically it's not a huge deal if we miss out on it, at least with our build for Shepard.
Good evening now.
And we've gotten everything else there that could potentially be of value to us. The only thing remaining in terms of, or if you want to call this a game on the Silver Sun Strip, would be if we wanted to do more of the arena runs. I think we have not, speaking of Jacob, actually done any matches with Jacob on our team for the arena. I think that we've probably used everyone else besides him, which is not entirely a coincidence. We could hop in to do one more match there, I suppose, just to show you what skills he has and whatnot. I think that compared to other squad mates that we've unlocked, we have unlocked him, we just haven't used him. I think he's, probably not going to be on the upper end of the effectiveness, but let's see, this was Fatal Error, right? I don't think we've reset since Fatal Error, so let's not do that again. Maybe we should not do that again. I also don't think we've tried Prime Evil, though. Oh, hold on. Okay, Fatal Error is now an area that we can try out. We've done Brimstone, done Pain Train. Yeah, I think actually the only one we have not tried is Prime Evil. So let's go for that one. Let's maybe, on one hand, how difficult do we want to make this for us? As I was saying, I don't think that Jacob is necessarily the strongest of squad mates. He has probably the best matchup against Reapers, so probably we should go that route. And in terms of the difficulty of said Reapers, we want to make life really easy for ourselves, we go for Foot Soldiers difficulty. Elites probably should still be doable as well. If we are to go Super Elites, it could be tricky, and we'd probably need to bring Garrus along with us and just use him as our primary way to deal with the most dangerous of enemies. But I think the combination of having Jacob with us and being in a new arena where I don't know what the safe places or just general good places to set up shop are, it's probably not the best of combos, so maybe we go just down to the elites there to make it so we're not pushing ourselves big time. It's mostly just a means to see what Jacob brings to the table skills wise. So at the moment we have the player damage boost on. That's probably unnecessary for this one. Is there anything we'd like to turn on here? Because I think usually we found when we were on the Elites difficulty, we were usually right on the edge of getting to a gold prize, and we'd obviously like to get to a gold prize here. So maybe enhanced enemy shields? That might not be the worst thing. Why don't we go for that? To give ourselves a 10% additional score bonus, and then we may still want to have Garrus just as our safety net in case things go horribly wrong with Jacob. But let's see, there you are. I think, let's just take a quick look. Is there anyone else we've not yet used? Did we use Saeed? Have we used Saeed, actually? I thought I remembered that we selected skills for him, and because we were talking about how we kind of went with a bit of an unconventional approach. I assume that means that we used him at some point. I'm pretty sure we did. Samara we used with Jack on that run against collectors where we struggled mightily. Miranda, I think we've only used once, although she is definitely a very strong squad mate, as is, or we've only used Kasumi once as well. Jacob, like I said, I think is the only one we haven't used. We used Jack with Samara, we went Grunt and Rex with our first run, and then obviously we have all of our usual squad mates that are with us 24/7 further to the left, so nothing new there. So yeah, I think it may just be Jacob. So let's go for that combo, and this team composition here is going to have, at least with Garrus, tons of weapons damage. Jacob can do a bit of that as well. Garrus, tons of armor damage, a little bit to deal with shields with his overload. Jacob, also when it comes to his skills, I think, what, a little bit of crowd control, and good against armor as well. So, fortunately, Reapers are primarily armor, and that is the thing that this squad is best at dealing with, so that's probably fine. But let's just double check. This could be a pretty good way to confirm. Have we used Jacob? Because I don't think that we have. Do we have the starting weapons on him? Or... yes, we do. Yes, we do. We would not have been using the Katana and the Predator on him if we had used him in a mission previously. So, yes, I think that just about can tell us definitively that he has not yet joined us in the arena here. So, definitely not going to want to use the Katana. So, shotguns and pistols. Crusader is certainly not a bad option. That's sort of a long-range shotgun. Claymore, close-range shotgun. Don't really know this arena at all because we haven't been here yet, so don't have a good idea as to whether we're going to see more close-range encounters or more long-range encounters, which would basically be the decision behind Claymore versus Crusader. But we do have, alternatively, also the Wraith, which is sort of our all-round shotgun that works in any situation, so maybe, given the lack of info we have for this one, may make the most sense to go this route, just to play it a little bit safe. We'll go for the additional accuracy, and probably a little bit of armor piercing as well, since, as we were saying, it's a lot of armor for Reapers. On the middle difficulty that we're going on, Elites, that is, maybe slightly less the case, but I think it probably still makes sense. Then, for pistol, I mean, in all likelihood, we're just going to have him hold on to his shotgun and use that as his primary weapon. Eagle, now that we've upgraded it, is very intriguing. That might be the choice here. Paladin is not bad as well. Eagle is sort of like an assault rifle in pistol form. Paladin is slower firing but harder hitting, which each individual shot. Scorpion, much slower, but has some crowd control, some stagger with the little explosions. Talon is sort of like a shotgun in pistol form, although since Jacob has a shotgun for his other weapon, probably not as meaningful for him as it might be for other squad mates who don't have access to shotguns at all. Arc pistol, squad mates just aren't very good at it. Same with the suppressor. Acolyte doesn't make much sense for him. Executioner is, I suppose, an option for just really hard-hitting, almost sniper-like pistol shots. So, where does that leave us? I was kind of liking Eagle, since he doesn't have access to assault rifles. I think in Mass Effect 2, he was assault rifles and shotguns, and then in Mass Effect 3, he's shotguns and pistols. So a little bit of a downgrade of sorts in that way, although, of course, there are certainly still some very strong pistols in the game here. So we'll go for a little bit of armor piercing and just generic damage on the Eagle. I think that's probably all we need on that. So now, he's all kitted up. So I think we're good to go here. Let's save beforehand, just because I still don't really know what we're going to find here. Going in an unknown arena and using Jacob for the first time in the arena. So we might be setting ourselves up for a little bit of trouble here if we're not careful. Okay, and yeah, it does automatically load us to the power screen because we have not allocated any of Jacob's skills yet. Remember, any of our squad mates that are only available in the arena just by default start with 3 points spent in every ability. So he has incendiary ammo, which does more damage against armor, which is kind of already what Garrus does with his ammo ability. Lift grenade, a little bit of crowd control. technically can set up biotic combos, although it's not great at that because it requires that enemies have all of their defenses stripped before we do it. Barrier, just for additional survivability for the most part. Pull gives a little more crowd control, but as we've said with our own pull ability, it's just, compared to other biotic crowd control abilities, it is one of, if not the worst, so probably not going to look to invest much in that. And then his passive for additional offensive and defensive things, more specifically, combination of weapons damage, health shields, and probably the option for power damage at some point, yeah. So, let's see. In terms of what we want to do with him, so we could just go the weapons damage route here, weapons damage here, guess maybe shield recharge, and this is all health and shield stuff here. I mean, it's not going to add up to anywhere near the same amount of weapons damage that someone like Garrus or Ashley has, so he's just, I think that's almost always going to be the case for Jacob, is that regardless of what you want to use him for, there's just always going to be someone who does that thing better, which is why he's just kind of hard to justify using on your arena team, because you want weapons damage, use Garrus. You want biotics, use Samara, use Liara, use Jack. So it's just kind of this awkward in-between, and if you want a Jack of all trades, use Miranda. And so he just really doesn't have any one go-to thing that you're going to want to use him for, which is the key thing that I think he suffers from. But for incendiary ammo, we could invest in this because Garrus has his own personal ammo, but we could have Jacob go with squad ammo so that we have the ability to get access to his incendiary ammo. That's not a terrible idea. So why don't we go that route? Then we can go ammo capacity or headshots. We've oftentimes debated which one of these is better because for squad mates, the ammo doesn't make a huge difference since they have unlimited ammo. On the other hand, for squad mates, headshots doesn't make a huge difference because they don't necessarily make a deliberate point of shooting for enemies' heads. And when it comes to us, the weapons that we use most often are incapable of getting headshots. So for that reason, we've generally resorted to ammo capacity, although we are not shooting very often because we're primarily using power, so this also isn't super helpful for us either. So it's kind of a, well, you know, take your pick. Neither one is going to be all that amazing for us, but maybe we do go ammo capacity here, since at least it gives us some value. And then we can go for the generic damage, which gets us up to 31.2% extra damage for both health and armor. Or we can go for the explosive burst, which is what we had taken on James's incendiary ammo and was particularly useful for some rapid fire weapons, which, we could have put, I suppose we could have put Rieger on James, for his shotgun, which we did not do, but that's a really fast firing shotgun, so that works really well with the explosive burst. But the Eagle, we gave him the fast firing pistol. That could still make sense to go that route. I mean, this on the high end is definitely capable of being better than this. This is kind of the safe option, but if you're deliberately trying to have a fast fire weapon that just procs that 130 damage over 2.5 meters as often as possible, then that does add up to be probably a lot more than this incremental 10%. So why don't we go with that? Didn't necessarily optimize our weapons for that exact purpose, but I think we can still make it work if we choose to use his pistol. Then, as I was saying, lift grenade it's not bad. It's mostly just, I think, going to serve as a source of a big chunk of damage because, yeah, it has some crowd control against weaker enemies, but it's just not going to be a huge factor against bigger enemies. I think it is a universal detonator, though, so I suppose it can still set off combos if other people are helping to set them up. So I think we probably are, 5-meter radius, probably just looking to get some damage in that case. Duration versus max grenades. The duration of the lift, that's primarily for crowd control and priming enemies for biotic combos, but as I was saying, that's just not really the thing that this is particularly good at. I think we mostly just want to treat it like any other grenade, and more grenades means having access to more damage. So we can throw more of them and do that 810 damage more often. We can slam floating targets to the ground as lift wears off, stunning them for 3 seconds. This is again sort of the crowd control option, whereas damage and radius is more just the generic it's a grenade. Let's have it hit a lot of stuff and deal a bunch of damage. 128 hours, how long have we been playing this? A very long time. I mean, this is of course the third game in the trilogy, but was that 128? Was that showing up on our save there? But also in between streams a week or so ago, I did a whole bunch of these arena runs where I quite literally completed 100 arena runs so that we could earn 1,000,000 credits. So that took some time. We experimented a bit with, I found a strategy to have those runs go fairly quickly, but I mean, even if it was about 3 to 4 minutes per run, including all the loading screens and what have you, that's still 3 to 4 minutes times 100, and that's from optional content alone, let alone the actual campaign and side quests and everything else that we've done along the way. So, yeah, we're definitely not speed running. We're going for the 100%. But let's go damage here, because 945 that's pretty substantive, and we may get a little bit more power damage from his passive later on. Then the barrier, as we were saying, is for loading up on additional defenses. So as things currently stand, it gives him 15% damage reduction. He can detonate it for damage, and it has a somewhat surprisingly large radius, but that obviously deactivates the damage reduction, so I think we're probably just going to keep this on and forget about it, just go for the passive effect rather than the active effect. So for that reason, why don't we go, we can either have blast effect or barrier strength. Let's definitely do barrier strength to increase the damage reduction. Then we can go shield recharge speed, increase shield regeneration rate by 15% while it's active, or increase damage and force by 25% while barrier is active. I think that's actually for other biotic abilities, not necessarily just for barrier. So yeah, because by definition, if you're detonating the barrier is not active. So this would be another way to have him get a little more power damage, but I guess you could make a case for it. Yeah, sure. Why not? We'll go for the damage. Get a little aggressive there. And we might have gone to level 6 on this and got the additional damage reduction or reduce the power speed penalty when barrier is up. But remember that the squad mates that we get that are specific to the arena and nothing else, they get 1 fewer skill point than our usual squad mates, our full-time squad mates. And so that means we have to be a little bit more picky with when and where we're applying these points, and that probably means that barrier rank 6 is what we're going to have to leave out, and of course we ideally would not have any points in full because it is, or have just 1 or 2 points in it because it's not exactly great, but alas, we'll keep it at the minimum, 3. Then for his passives, it's either the survivability or it's the weapon damage, and again, a question of, you could justify going in either direction. You have him try to dish out the damage or have him try to be more of a tank. And technically speaking, with barrier upgraded, that gives him more survivability. I think he does start with perhaps a little more survivability than some other squad mates. If you go for durability here, shield recharge, and health and shield bonus, and melee damage as well, he can become one of the tankiest squad mates, probably just behind all the Krogan, and 100% melee damage is nothing to snuff at. That is also approaching Krogan territory as well. So I think, I mean, he's obviously not going to compete with Garrus for weapons damage, but maybe we try this out. And then for here, I mean, I don't really think he's going to be doing that much damage with the powers, but, or at least compared to, you know, us, where we're like a full-blown power build, but I mean, he does have those lift grenades, so getting 20% more damage on a what was it, like 960 damage lift grenade is a lot. So I guess it's worth it for that reason. And then we do have enough to throw another point into a passive. So squad bonus for squad mate health and shields, or basically have a larger number that applies just to him and him alone. So, I mean, in theory, it would be nice to have our entire squad get the additional health and shields. These ones that affect the entire squad tend to be a little bit buggy, so that makes me a little nervous. but maybe we take our chances here. Like, James, I think, has one that is very similar, if not exactly the same as this, and that is one in particular that I think gets the most discussion as one that is just very, very bugged. So I'm a little concerned that it just might not apply at all, but maybe we'll give it a shot. In large part because this is probably going to be the only time that we use Jacob. So then, unfortunately again, because squad mates that are only available in the arena have one fewer point than our full-time squad mates, that means that 1 point is the difference between being able to afford rank 6 barrier and not being able to afford rank 6 barrier. So we can't take that, but we can take another point into pull. Whoopee! We can increase the duration. Actually, 7.6 seconds is fairly long, or we can increase the radius to 2 meters, so it's possible to lift more than one enemy. Thinking we probably go that route, just because the duration is, I mean, it's not a huge factor. Our crowd control is going to have better crowd control than his. So, you know, in truth, we need to be disabling enemies for a long period of time. And it's probably going to come down to us making that happen more, so it's going to come down to Jacob making that happen. I mean, either way, I suppose both of these are a different form of additional crowd control. So, yeah, I think we went for radius for ourselves, in large part, actually, for Guardians in particular, potentially removing 2 Guardian shields with 1 pull. Though I'm not sure we ever successfully have pulled that off, but in theory, maybe that's reason enough for that to be the tiebreaker. Okay, so there we have it. Jacob is all set and ready to go, and everyone else is as well. So let's get going.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's combat night in the Armax Arsenal Arena.
Okay, so it's a forest, and I have no idea where the best and worst cover spots are, or really anything about this arena at all. So let's take a quick look around. It's like these altars over here, which I suppose could give us some cover. There's some ammo boxes to either side. Can't tell how... Like, it's actually pretty small. Seems like it's kind of circular. Of course, we'll have to see where the enemies start spawning in, but...
5.
Over there. Okay. Feel like there's some cover there.
4.
Might be
3,
decent.
2,
Ideally, actually going
1.
behind this stuff. I also have no recollection
Starting round 1.
of what enemies we encounter when on this difficulty for Reapers. Make sure we have powers active. Actually, we should have done Jacob's first because his ammo is going to affect the entire party and is going to override Garrus's ammo. And then, so now we go and say, Garrus, put your ammo on. Now everybody's fine for ammo. Okay, so I'm hearing cannibals. I imagine, yeah, we're going to have marauders as well.
On the double!
Kill streak.
Okay, kill streaks are good. Cannibal, oh! Barriers on the cannibal? Where's that coming from? That's weird. That does not usually happen. Did they dodge our singularity? I can't help but feel like they dodged our singularity. Let's warp you. Then we can singularity you, or Garrus will just kill you altogether. This marauder is trying to flank us. That is illegal in 7 countries.
4.
Where are these barriers coming from? They have a barrier engine over here somewhere? That hit you? I hope that hit you. There we go. Got you with singularity. Now we make you go boom.
Kill streak.
Okay, Marauder shields. We're on the Hurricane. Let's switch over to the Acolyte, actually. Garrus is still on cooldown. Marauder is now shieldless after we hit him with the Acolyte. We'll put him into our Singularity Vortex and then make him go boom. He did not explode. He should have exploded. I can't help but notice that he should have exploded.
End of round
Now
1.
he has exploded. Okay. Do we care about this bonus?
5, 4, 3.
But we got it. How do we feel about the spot that we were hanging out in before? When enemies are now going to spawn in that corner. I mean, this is actually not a bad spot to be. It is incredibly dark and dismal.
Round 2.
Does make it kind of difficult to get a line of sight on enemies, I feel like. Would prove to be a little tricky. Also, we're kind of blocking our squad mates from getting into cover. Yes, I would like to at least see what's over here. Okay, there are Ravagers on this wave we are now seeing, and Husks as well. Ooh, barriers and the Husks. Again, a little surprising, and does make them much more difficult to deal with. Ooh, they are starting to flank us as well. This one's the closest. So, let's see. Husks, Marauders, and then Ravagers, I suppose, the last enemy. So let's overload you to get rid of the barrier. Then that means we can singularity you. Then you'll go down. This Husk is very close to us. So let's have Jacob do that. And then maybe even that. So the grenades, working well for us there. Okay. This Marauder kind of sort of has a flanking angle on us. Is that a brute sound? It sounded like a brute sound. Might be a brute paying us a visit relatively soon, although that would surprise me a bit, since I wouldn't think there would be that many different kinds of enemies in one wave. Maybe it's just the sound of this Ravager shooting all these projectiles at us from all the way over there. Ooh, sniped that Marauder. Fortunately, the Ravager is completely ignoring us. There are these Husks, however, that are going to be a bit of a pain. And Jacob's grenades. Dealing enough damage to be useful here. Yeah, I think it is the Ravager and the Marauder just hanging out in the back corner there. Proving to be a little bit tricky to get rid of. Oh, there you are. Okay, now we at least have a line of sight on you to a certain extent. So let's tell our squad mates to target you. That unfortunately missed. Did that hit? No, our Acolyte missed as well. There's still more Husks here? There are still more Husks. Ooh, the Marauder has seen us. Okay, somebody is managing to hit the Marauder, so that's saying something. I think our Marauder, or rather, Ravager might be looking at us now. It definitely is. I think the explosion took out the initial Husk and also a Husk that was hanging out right next to it. Okay, Ravager's at least out in the open now. Let's focus in on it. Ooh. And it seems like now it is just this Marauder. There we go. Okay, so bonus is over there. Not sure it's worth making a run for that. How do we feel about this spot? Them spawning in directly across from us. Is our cover sufficient over here? I mean, we technically have a little bit of a better angle on them, but it is in that they can't flank as easily, but at the same time, still don't have great line of sight on them. But we'll give it a shot here. So I'm thinking what we're probably going to see is, yeah, a whole bunch of Ravagers, some Marauders as well, and then will we see Brutes this time? There's a chance we will. Let's just not poke our heads out too far. We'd rather not get hit by those Ravagers. That would hurt a lot. The Husks are going to make that a little bit tricky, though. They are going to try to complicate matters. That did somehow hit you. And trying to have our squad mates take out that Raptor. There's one over there as well. They're definitely the most dangerous. There's, just looking at our mini-map in the bottom right corner, there are potentially enemies that are getting uncomfortably close to us at the moment. And I definitely hear a Ravager. I'm pretty sure the enemy on our left flank is the Ravager that we were looking at before. It is. It is. That's a huge problem. Okay, it's dead. Fortunately, we had grenades to spare. Otherwise, a flanking Ravager is not a sight you want to see. There's another Ravager over here. Can we hit it? We cannot hit it with that ability. Okay. Husks, let's control you with the singularity and make you go boom. Okay, still Marauders, and that Ravager back there. is laying down some effective suppressive fire. De-shield the Marauder so that we can singularity him. He dodged the singularity. How dare you? Oh, hello. Are we going to be able to grab you? It's a grabbable piece of cover? I don't think it is, unfortunately. I would love if we could. Here you go. There's a pull opportunity. That Ravager is also uncomfortably close. As are these Swarmers, to be honest. And Garrus is on cooldown. Now, this might be an opportunity for us to grenade. And whatnot. Oh. More friends. More grenades, I say. Okay. Let's pull you. Just so you don't flank us effectively, and Garrus is going to take care of you anyway. Then this Ravager out here is the one that keeps on applying that suppressive fire. Okay, from that angle we can get the overload to hit, so that's good. Let's also warp you. And now you should take more damage, and Lift Grenade can theoretically detonate that as well. So it should deal a decent chunk of damage, but not enough to take you out. You guys can just focus on that for the moment. That'd be lovely. Oh, there isn't. Still another Ravager. Oh, and it is moving in on us aggressively. Again, kind of going into that flanking position. If you guys could just, like, finish this thing off, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Okay, I'm thinking it may just be this Marauder and this Ravager as the last two enemies here. Can we sneak in a warp around this cover that still hits? No, we cannot. Although you're right out in the open where we see just how much damage Garrus does when he has a clean line of sight. So that's good stuff. And if this is truly the last enemy, then in theory, we can get aggressive here. And try to eviscerate him with those grenades. However, there was a bug that we encountered in a previous match where we seemingly took care of the last enemy and the game did not acknowledge that we finished, but maybe this is just the Marauder that we blasted halfway across the map that is somehow still alive. Somehow. Some way. There we go. Okay, all good. Okay, so before we factor in kill streaks, we're at about 4,700, so 6,000 is the threshold for a gold reward. We did not quite get it. That's unfortunate. Again, mostly just a little test run here to see what it's like to play in this arena and to use Jacob as well, so we got the chance to do that. What's up, Legion Grey? How's it going? Oh yeah, trust me. We did over 100 matches on a specific setup that we did in order to basically guarantee that we get 9,999 plus points every time and do so quickly. So that's how we loaded up on over 1 million credits. But that one was mostly just a test run because we had not used Jacob at all and we had not done that arena at all. So unfortunately, we lowered down the difficulty a little bit because we thought, not sure how much we really trust Jacob to carry the team here. So it did mean that we fell into the silver reward threshold, and hence why it's only 3,000 credits here. But it's something. It is something, and we're still doing okay from a credit standpoint. We've, of course, made a lot of upgrades after we finished all those other arena runs as well. So I think we have now played every map and used every squad mate at least once. Of course, there are certainly ones that we used more than others, but that is at least giving us a sense as to what it's all about.